this is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.
Amazon Health AI presents Painful Thoughts.
I can't stop scratching my downtown. Yeah, but I'm not itching to go downtown and tell a receptionist I'm here to talk about my downtown. Some things you'd rather type than say out loud.
There's no question too embarrassing for Amazon Health AI. Chat your symptoms and get virtual care 24/7. Healthcare just got less painful.
This is Jacob Goldstein from What's Your Problem? Running a business is hard enough. Don't make it harder with a dozen apps that don't talk to each other. One for sales, another for inventory, a separate one for accounting. That's software overload. Odoo is the all-in-one platform that replaces them all. CRM, accounting, inventory, e-commerce, HR, fully integrated, easy to use, and built to grow with your business. Thousands have already made the switch. Why not you? Try Odoo for free at odoo.com. That's odoo.com.
People at work supported me while I was going through treatment by not treating me like somebody who was going through treatment. Treatment sucks. Cancer sucks. Being engaged with work really helped to, I just knew I was going to beat this thing.
Research shows there is a significant connection between the ability to continue to work and cancer recovery. We can make work a better place for healing.
Learn more and sign the pledge at workingwithcancerpledge.com.
This is Red Pilled America.
You guys, we're working really hard here behind the scenes to bring you guys the best stories possible. If you want to listen to Red Pilled America ad-free, then please become a Backstage subscriber. Visit redpilledamerica.com, click join in the top menu. I think you're going to love it.
And be sure to share, like, and subscribe to this podcast wherever you're listening to it. We need you guys' support. Tell a friend about the show. This is how people hear about it, is through word of mouth. And now, on with the show. Previously on Red Pilled America.
She got me the golden years of radio. And that is when I knew exactly what I wanted to do.
He was financially and emotionally decimated.
This is the day Glenn Beck ended his career.
So Glenn decided to do his own thing.
6 months later, we were number one.
And Glenn Beck's candid style was just what America wanted.
Roger Ailes, about a year before my contract was up, he called me.
In many ways, Glenn was becoming bigger than Fox News.
He had to have a way to have a thumb on me. That's the way he was with everybody. And he had nothing.
That is, until a story crossed American airwaves.
And I said, everything's about to change.
I'm Patrick Corelchi.
And I'm Adriana Cortez.
And this is Red Pilled America, a storytelling show.
This is not another talk show covering the day's news. We are all about telling stories.
Stories Hollywood doesn't want you to hear.
Stories the media mocks. Stories about everyday Americans that the globalists ignore.
You could think of Red Pilled America as audio documentaries, and we promise only one thing. The truth. Welcome to Red Pilled America. We're at the second and final part of our series of episodes entitled Trailblaze. You've probably heard part one, but if you haven't, stop and go back and listen from the beginning. We're looking for the answer to the question, who is Glenn Beck, by hearing from the man himself. So in part one, we learned that when Glenn Beck was just 7 years old, his mother introduced him to the golden years of radio. He was fascinated by the craft of audio storytelling and knew from then on what he wanted to do with his life. At the ripe old age of 12, he won a contest to DJ at a local radio station. He was on his way. But then, when he was 15, his mother took her own life. The tragic event seemed to inspire Glenn to go headfirst into a career in radio. He landed jobs at local stations, and when he graduated from high school, he got a gig in Top 40 radio. He bounced around the country picking up different DJ jobs, and in the process he developed a drug and alcohol problem. He prayed for the strength to kick the habit, and in a pivotal moment, Glenn had an on-air confessional about his addictions. He thought it'd be the end of his career, but instead, the exact opposite happened. His audience appreciated his candor. A few years later, Glenn decided to take a stab at talk radio, and he initially had a rough go of it. He was listening to everyone around him instead of relying on his own voice. When he finally decided to do his own thing, his Glenn Beck program took off. In 2006, CNN came calling, and then in early 2009, Glenn moved to Fox News, and his show was practically an overnight success. Glenn was doing something completely new. He was spending entire episodes on one topic, using an old-fashioned chalkboard and the tried-and-true technique of storytelling to explain complex issues. His reporting forced the resignation of several Obama White House appointees, and he became a media phenomenon in the process. And it wasn't only because he was entertaining or enlightening. He'd become effective, extraordinarily effective. And that was just too much for corporate media to take. So began its war on Glenn Beck. The modern-day cancel culture was born. Corporate media and establishment Republicans joined forces to take him out. At every turn, they labeled him a dangerous, chalkboard-wielding conspiracy theorist. The media hit jobs even began to turn his own network against him.
Working at Fox, they were at times a predator as well towards me. And so I had gotten a word that somebody was looking into my background. And I had already gone through this with the left, so I knew it was Fox.
The head of the network at the time, Roger Ailes, asked Glenn into his office, then suggested that he had dirt on Glenn.
And I knew he needed his thumb on me. He had to have a way to have a thumb on me. That's the way he was with everybody. And he had nothing. He was bluffing.
That is, until Saturday, January 8th, 2011.
On that day, at around 10 a.m. local time, Democrat Arizona Congresswoman Gabrielle Giffords was hosting a public event at a Safeway grocery store in Tucson, Arizona. A few minutes after the event started, calls began flooding the local 911 phone lines.
My husband just called me and told me he was shot. He went to the Gabrielle Giffords, whatever they were doing today, and I don't know where he is.
Your husband was shot?
That's what he said. He just called him, and then the phone went dead.
Is anybody injured? Did you say Gabrielle Giffords was hit?
She's hit.
Okay.
I believe she's breathing. There's multiple people shot.
Okay. Oh, my God.
911 dispatch relayed the information to local law enforcement.
Just advising Safeway, Ina, and Oracle County is going to be working a shooting. We've got multiple calls. We've been informed Gabrielle Giffords is involved.
Okay, all units to the county call. A male is advising that they are restraining a male suspect in front of the store. And this may be involved with the Congresswoman Giffords function.
The media arrived and began questioning bystanders.
From my understanding, what I first heard, I heard about 15 to 20 gunshots in the parking lot. I came outside immediately and did not see a vehicle or any people fleeing. I just saw people running, screaming towards the where the shooting happened. Everyone screaming that it was Gabrielle Giffords.
You're saying that you have heard there were fatalities, but you have not seen and cannot confirm there were fatalities.
I see two bodies laying on the sidewalk in front of the Safeway.
All right. That would seem to be confirmation that people have been killed.
It wasn't long until the explosive story hit every news desk in America.
We have breaking news for you. It's coming out of Tucson, Arizona. Several people have been shot. Among those shooting victims is Congresswoman Gabrielle Gifford. She is a Democrat with the House of Representatives.
Again, there are conflicting reports about Arizona Congresswoman Gabrielle Giffords at this hour, whether or not she has died or, in fact, is in surgery, trying to fight what was apparently a shotgun blast to the head.
As the day progressed, details about the horrific event began to surface.
The Congresswoman and others gather outside this Safeway and set up a table to meet with constituents one-on-one. The gunman, witnesses say, tells a staffer he wants to speak with the Congresswoman. He's told to wait in a line of about 20 people, and he complies. Then suddenly he gets out of line and quickly walks towards the Congresswoman. He stops when he's about 4 feet away, raises his Glock 9mm pistol, and fires. Congresswoman Giffords immediately falls. Witnesses say the shooter then starts firing wildly.
As the gunman attempted to reload, 2 brave men tackled him to the ground and held him down.
I had to do something. I just couldn't sit there and let this guy go by. When we pushed her, he just went right to the ground. There was no struggle or no fight.
In the end, 15 were injured. 6 were dead. America quickly learned the identity of the shooter. His name was Jared Loughner, and the media began to lay fault for the violence at the feet of a burgeoning new movement.
Of course, we do not know if any of the emotions that might have flooded over from the political midterms took any sort of play in this event. We do know that race was a very hotly contested race. She won by, I believe, 2 percentage points or even less up against a Tea Party favorite.
When the story first broke, Glenn Beck was with his wife in New York City.
I was strangely at a Broadway play, and my security detail came in and handed me a phone with that story on it in the middle of the play. And my wife said, "What?" And I handed it to her, and she said, "Oh, boy." And I said, "Everything's about to change." I knew that I would be blamed for it. Sarah Palin would be blamed for it. Fox News would be blamed for it.
Within hours of the story, the head of Fox News contacted Glenn.
And Roger called that night, and he said, "Next Thursday, I need to see you in my office." And next Thursday is not Monday. If it's really, truly something that you are worried about, you call me in on Monday and we talk about it. It was next Thursday.
Roger Ailes likely wanted to see how the media would handle the event. It quickly became apparent that Glenn's initial concern was accurate. Corporate media had their villains, and they were 2 of the Tea Party movement's most prominent figures, Sarah Palin and Glenn Beck. The attacks were kicked off on the day of the shooting by an unlikely figure, a person that was just supposed to stick to the facts. The Democrat sheriff of the county where the tragedy occurred stepped up to the microphone and, without evidence, placed the blame on talk radio and cable news personalities.
And I think it's time as a country that we need to do a little soul searching, because I think it's the vitriolic rhetoric that we hear day in and day out from people in the radio business and some people in the TV business.
That was all the far-left corporate media needed to begin its attack on Glenn Beck and Sarah Palin.
Glenn Beck, who obsesses nearly as strangely as this Mr. Loughner did about gold and debt, and who wistfully joked about killing Michael Moore.
Glenn Beck himself has been responsible for 3 thwarted assassination attempts this year.
You have people like Glenn Beck who repeatedly and constantly refer to political opponents on the left as traitors, treasonous, Marxists, fascists, Nazis. You know, you can see that as entertainment, but some people like Mr. Loughner are not going to see it as entertainment. They're going to take it seriously.
No, this guy was clearly a nut. But it's also clear that he was very anti-government. I mean, if you read some of the stuff that we have, that we know he wrote, I mean, it's sprinkled with things, anti-government ideas, treason, tyranny, get back to the gold standard, that kind of stuff that seems like it, you know, I don't know who else but Glenn Beck talks about that.
As hard as Glenn was being hit, Sarah Palin was getting it even worse. During the midterm elections the previous year, her political action committee used scope sites on a map to highlight vulnerable Democrat districts. Politicians had long used these types of symbols, including the Democrats in 2004. But the media brushed that fact aside and attempted to connect the map to the shootings in Tucson.
Sarah Palin was in the discussion because during the campaign she put out a map that had crosshairs. Correct. That picked the 20 districts in which Democrats had been elected, but McCain had won in those districts. Right. Now, Congresswoman Giffords' district was one of those districts. Right. That's why Palin was in the conversation.
Arizona has become the mecca of prejudice and bigotry. If Sarah Palin, whose website put and today scrubbed bullseye targets on 20 representatives, including Gabby Giffords, does not repudiate her own part however tangential, in amplifying violence and violent imagery in American politics, she must be dismissed from politics.
Sarah Palin's colleague, Rebecca Mansour, took to the airwaves on the night of the shooting to explain how the map came into existence.
This graphic, it was done not even in-house. We had a professional who does a political graphics artist, consultant do this for us. So we saw it really quickly. We said, yeah, that's fine, that's great. And we had never even imagined or occurred to us that anybody would interpret it as violent, because it's not.
The media paired the map with the partisan Tucson shooting victim to reinforce the building narrative.
It looks like Palin, Beck, Sharon Engel, and the rest got their first target. Their wish for Second Amendment activism has been fulfilled.
The attacks over the weekend were brutal. Every Sunday political show, cable news desk, and legacy newspaper tried connecting the shooting to the Tea Party in general and Glenn Beck and Sarah Palin in particular. But under scrutiny, the connection would completely fall apart. The shooting was the work of a schizophrenic madman, Jared Loughner, who had no discernible political philosophy. What happened was, Loughner developed an obsession with Gabrielle Giffords going back to 2007, long before the Tea Party movement even formed.
This just-released court complaint gives us a better idea of what investigators found inside his home. A letter in a safe from Congresswoman Giffords from 2007 thanking Loughner for attending an event. Loughner told a friend that he once shouted out a question to Congresswoman Giffords at an event. He reportedly asked, "What is government if words have no meaning?" The friend went on to say that Loughner didn't like her answer and said ever since he thought she was fake and had something against her.
As the media's fake narrative began to build momentum, Glenn Beck took the first opportunity to defend himself and his friend on his radio show.
I wrote to Sarah Palin last night, and I'm going to read to you my part and then just a little bit of what she wrote back. And I said, Sarah, as you know, peace is always the answer. I know you're feeling the same heat, if not much more on this. I want you to know you have my support. But please look into protection for your family. An attempt on you could bring the republic down. There are nut jobs on all sides. Tomorrow I am issuing a challenge to stand with each other to reject all violence. There is a difference between a hard-fought political battle and violence. That's why they are two separate terms. The press and politicians know this. It's time for politics to stop and sanity to begin. God bless. My best to all. You are always in my thoughts and prayers. She wrote back, in part, I hate violence. I hate war. Our children will not have peace if politicos just capitalize on this to succeed in portraying anyone as inciting terror and violence. Thanks for all you do to send the message of truth and love. And God has the answer. Sarah.
As the week progressed, the anticipation of Glenn's Thursday meeting with Roger Ailes began to weigh heavily on him.
And I knew at that time, I'm doomed. If I go in there, he's going to fire me if I don't play the game. And then Fox News is blaming me for that shooting. I'm done. However, if I go in there and I play the game, I'm done. There was no way for me to win. And a very good friend of mine, a guy who is a billionaire, he's talking to me one night. It was like on Tuesday night. He said, "You cannot go in there. He said, you're done, Glenn. You will be done. You've got to delay this meeting." And I said, I don't know how. And he said, "Are you having a heart attack? You don't sound well." And I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "You need to get to a hospital. I'm going to send my plane for you. You need to get to a hospital. You need a battery of tests. You sound like you're having a heart attack." I figured it out, what he was saying.
He wanted Glenn to fake an ailment to delay the meeting.
And he said, "I'll send my plane." And I said, hang on, I got to talk to my wife. He said, "Well, you should talk to your wife because you shouldn't talk to anybody else, but I think you're having a heart attack."
After talking to his wife, Glenn called his friend and declined his offer. When Thursday arrived, the enormity of his meeting with Roger Ailes began to register with Glenn.
He was going to pin me or fire me. And I remember praying all the way over because I didn't have my offices at Fox. I had an office at Fox, but I never used it. And I walked into his office, and I sat down, and I had no idea what I was going to say or how this was going to work. And I was praying the whole time, Lord, this is in your hands, man, because I'm dead either way. And when I crossed the threshold of his office, I just was overwhelmed with this feeling of sadness for him. And I sat down in front of his desk, and he said, well, we have to talk. And I said, and I swear to you, it was not contrived. I don't know where it came from. And I said, before we talk, I want to thank you. And he said, for what? And I said, if it wasn't for you, I don't know if Reagan would have been elected or reelected. If it wasn't for Fox, God only knows where this country would have been after 9/11. You have made some really crucial moments that bought time for my generation. And thank you. Well, as I said that, he starts crying. And he said, you really mean that, don't you? And I said, strangely, I do. And he sat there for a while, and he just looked at me, and he said, come on over, let's sit on the couch. We sat on the couch for probably 30 minutes. We just shot the shit.
As they talked, the time for Glenn's show arrived.
And he said, you got to get on the set. And I said, okay. And as I was leaving, I heard him say, get f***ing Palin on the phone. And that's the day Palin changed.
This was around the time that Glenn and Sarah's relationship, for all intents and purposes, ended. Glenn believed that Roger Ailes poisoned the well. Sarah reportedly claimed that it was because Glenn read part of her email on air. Either way, corporate media successfully broke up a powerful team that was fighting the establishment. Glenn had reached a pivotal moment. The entire ordeal revealed the writing on the wall. Corporate media was not the place he could continue his work. He had to make a bold move. And as the attacks over the shooting began to subside, Glenn made an appearance on a show that gave a subtle hint of his only pathway forward.
People are surprised when they find out that we're friends.
More of Red Pilled America after the break. All right, if you guys know anything about me, you know that I am crazy about my dogs. And let me tell you something. My English Bulldog Pablo had been suffering with the worst skin allergies. And then I started giving him Rough Greens in his food, and boy, what a difference that made. This stuff is amazing. Now Pablo is a Rough Greens dog for life. Rough Greens supports long-term health by providing live, bioavailable nutrients, including essential vitamins, minerals, probiotics, digestive enzymes, and omega oils. Rough Greens promotes longevity by addressing common nutritional deficiencies found in processed dog food. I don't just recommend Rough Greens, I depend on it to keep my dogs happy and healthy. Traditional dog food is shelf-stable for years because it's lifeless. Rough Greens brings the nutrition back, packed with live vitamins, minerals, probiotics, digestive enzymes, and omega oils. Rough Greens isn't dog food. It's a live nutritional supplement you add to your dog's food. You don't have to change your dog's food to improve your dog's health. Just add a scoop of Rough Greens. It's that easy, and I promise you will not regret it. Don't change your dog's food, just add Rough Greens. Rough Greens is offering a free Jumpstart trial bag. You just cover shipping. Use discount code RPA to claim your free Jumpstart trial bag at roughgreens.com. That's RUFFgreens.com, promo code RPA. So don't change your dog's food, just add Rough Greens and watch the health benefits come alive.
Amazon Health AI presents Painful Thoughts.
I can't stop scratching my downtown. Yeah, but I'm not itching to go downtown and tell a receptionist I'm here to talk about my downtown. Some things you'd rather type than say out loud.
There's no question too embarrassing for Amazon Health AI. Chat your symptoms and get virtual care 24/7. Healthcare just got less painful.
Anti-Semitism is continuing to rise around the world every day, and the Jewish people continue to pay the price From growing threats against Jewish communities to acts of violence, harassment, and intimidation, many Jewish families are living with fear simply because they're Jewish. Synagogues, schools, and community centers continue strengthening security as hatred spreads far beyond the headlines. That's why the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews is working every day in Israel and around the world, providing security, emergency assistance, food, and critical care for vulnerable Jewish communities. For more than 40 years, the Fellowship has stood alongside the Jewish people, delivering practical support when it is needed the most. Hatred continues to spread, but compassion and action can make a huge difference. So join me in joining the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews in praying for the safety of the Jewish people. Pray for peace in Israel and for an end to anti-Semitism. Together, we can remind God's people that they are not alone. So stand with Israel in prayer today by visiting prayifcj.org. That's pray, P-R-A-Y, ifcj.org.
Hi, Ryan Reynolds here for Mint Mobile. Are you looking for a beach read this summer? May I suggest your big wireless bill? It's got suspense, mystery, a slightly flat, emotional arc, and a shocking twist where you realize you've been overpaying the entire time. Fortunately, though, Mint's story is better. Every plan, $15 a month, even unlimited. That's it. Happy ending, zero tears. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan required. $15 per month equivalent. Taxes and fees extra. Initial plan term only. Greater than 50 gigabytes may slow when network is busy. See terms.
This is Jacob Goldstein from What's Your Problem? Running a business is hard enough. Don't make it harder with a dozen apps that don't talk to each other. One for sales, another for inventory, a separate one for accounting. That's software overload. Odoo is the all-in-one platform that replaces them all. CRM, accounting, inventory, e-commerce, HR, fully integrated, easy to use, and built to grow with your business. Thousands have already made the switch. Why not you? Try Odoo for free at odoo.com. That's odoo.com.
Welcome back to Red Pilled America. So by early 2011, Glenn Beck had survived 2 years of brutal attacks by not only the mainstream media, but even his own network. He'd reached a pivotal moment. The entire ordeal revealed the writing on the wall. Corporate media was not the place he could continue his work. He had to make a bold move. As the attack over the Gabby Gifford shooting began to subside, Glenn made an appearance on a show that hinted at his only pathway forward. The program was the Don Imus Show.
People are surprised when they find out that we're friends. So I know Sarah Palin is she's fine, but what they're trying to blame what happened in Tucson on you, or on her, or on right-wing radio. My question for you is, how do you feel about that?
I have gotten to a place now where they have said everything that they could possibly say about me under the sun for the last 2 years. I mean, they blame me for everything. They've called me every name under the sun. You get angry, and then you kind of go dead inside for a while. Here's the best thing. This year, I have a company that is completely debt-free. We operate with values and principles that, I think are above board. I can sleep at night. I have my family with me, and I've put in my bank account enough to where I could go to New Zealand today and live the rest of my life and pay for my kids' college education. I don't give a flying crap.
Consciously or not, Glenn turned to just the right man at this pivotal moment in his career, because Don Imus unintentionally warned him about the outrage mob he'd just experienced. A few years earlier, when Glenn was making waves at CNN, Don Imus was embroiled in perhaps the biggest controversy of his career.
So I watched the basketball game last night between a little bit of Rutgers and Tennessee, the women's final.
On April 4th, 2007, Don Imus was talking with a few of his colleagues on his show, which was simultaneously broadcast by CBS on the radio and MSNBC on cable TV.
Yeah, Tennessee won last night. 7th championship for Pat Summitt. Man, they beat Rutgers by 13 points.
That's some rough girls from Rutgers, man. They got tattoos and some hardcore hoes. That's some nappy-headed hoes there, I'm going to tell you that now.
Imus was known as one of the original shock jocks, so politically incorrect humor was nothing new for him. But what he hadn't realized at the time was that America was experiencing a new shift. A few months earlier, then U.S. Senator Barack Obama announced his run for president.
I stand before you today to announce
my candidacy for President of the United States of America.
Race instantly became a hot-button issue. Don Imus's off-color joke had become unacceptable in this new environment, and the radio veteran got the message quickly. By Friday that week, Imus apologized to the Rutgers girls basketball team, but over the weekend, the story exploded.
Don Imus is apologizing for what he calls an insensitive and ill-conceived remark, but some say his apology falls short.
We don't understand that a long-term veteran broadcaster wouldn't think that it would hurt the feelings of student athletes. We're talking about girls, college girls, who tried their best to win a championship, and he degrades them by calling them nappy-headed hoes.
Imus issued an apology saying, quote, "It was completely inappropriate, and we can understand why people were offended. Our characterization was thoughtless and stupid, and we are sorry." But the National Association of Black Journalists is not satisfied and is calling for a boycott of the Imus show and for Imus to be fired if he doesn't take more action.
Just, saying I'm sorry is not going to do it. He needs to outreach, he needs to reach out to those student athletes, he needs to have a larger statement regarding what he said.
Sorry, Imus. Apology not accepted.
Sensing he was in professional peril, Imus embarked on an apology tour.
On Friday, I apologized for some remarks that I made and others made, but particularly ones that I made, on this program to the women's basketball team at Rutgers University, because I thought it was important that I apologize to these young women and to that coach and to their parents and to you for what I said, and so that's what I did. And that was before any newspaper articles. That was the first opportunity that I had, and I may discuss that with, well, it depends on what Reverend Sharpton asked, but I'm going to appear on Reverend Al Sharpton's radio program this afternoon. It's not, I'm not sure what time. It's not broadcast in New York, but it's broadcast all over the country.
Imus appeared on Al Sharpton's program, and it didn't go so well.
And at the time I said it, I didn't think it was racial. I wasn't even thinking racial. I was thinking like a West Side Story deal, like one team's tough and one team's not so tough.
Nappy is racial.
Yes, sir, I understand that. But I'm not thinking that it is a racial insult that's being uttered at somebody. At the time, I think it's in the process of this what we're trying to rap and be funny. I mean, I understand it's not funny. I understand there's no excuse for it. I'm not pretending that there is. So I wish I hadn't have said it. I'm sorry I said it.
But Reverend Al Sharpton wasn't satisfied. He met with Imus's radio station, CBS, and told them what the veteran broadcaster should do.
At this point, as we sit here today, is there anything he can do?
Yeah, he could resign.
That's it.
As far as I'm concerned,
there's no way he can salvage himself
I
in your eyes.
don't see how he could salvage himself in the eyes of the public he offended without establishing a legal precedent that it's all right to say these things and just apologize.
Sharpton's campaign was effective. Within a few days, both CBS and MSNBC dropped the Radio Legends show. The Reverend quickly underscored that this was only the beginning.
It is really unfortunate that we have to revisit these issues as late as 2007. So the bad news is that the issue came up at all. The good news is that people from all communities united and put significant pressure on those in the advertising world and ultimately NBC and CBS that made this first round a victory. But this is only the first round. This is a long fight. There are others that are guilty.
Don Imus would eventually land at Fox News, the only big corporate media outlet available to those banished from the so-called mainstream media. Imus's cancellation from CBS and NBC gave the far-left media a scalp, and it looked to broaden their new tactic to take out others in talk radio and cable news, including a rising star at CNN.
I think if you're Howard Stern, you're Bill Maher, you're Glenn Beck, you're Michael Savage, you got to watch out.
What about Limbaugh, O'Reilly, Glenn Beck, Michael Savage? Any change anticipated in any of those areas?
I got to think that they are going to be scrutinized a lot more closely today than they were 48 hours ago.
At the time, Glenn Beck was in the lion's den at CNN. He had to have been closely monitoring Don Imus's controversy. It revealed the new normal. If you fall out of the good graces of corporate media, Your only home on the big stage would be Fox News, and if you lost Roger Ailes' network, you were through, unless you could build something new. When Glenn appeared on Don Imus' show in the wake of Gabrielle Gifford's shooting, he had a sense of calm in his demeanor, and that's likely because he'd been working on a way out of cable news, one that would blaze a trail on how to fight back against cancel culture. More of Red Pilled America after the break. Every site you visit, every search you type, every public Wi-Fi network you connect to leaves a record, and that record gets collected, packaged, and sold. Surfshark deals with that. You probably know of them from the VPN, which encrypts your entire connection under a strict, independently audited no-logs policy and also lets you get around geo-restrictions while traveling or streaming. They've built a full security suite around it. The ad and tracker blocker shuts down the profiling that follows you around from site to site. And Surfshark Alert watches your email, your passwords, even your credit card turning up in a breach, and tells you the moment it happens. Secure your entire digital life with Surfshark. It's completely risk-free with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Go to surfshark.com/RPA or use code RPA at checkout for 4 extra months of Surfshark. Again, that's surfshark.com/RPA, code RPA.
Amazon Health AI presents Painful Thoughts.
I can't stop scratching my downtown. Yeah, but I'm not itching to go downtown and tell a receptionist I'm here to talk about my downtown. Some things you'd rather type than say out loud.
There's no question too embarrassing for Amazon Health AI. Chat your symptoms and get virtual care 24/7. Healthcare just got less painful.
Anti-Semitism is continuing to rise around the world every day, and the Jewish people continue to pay the price. From growing threats against Jewish communities to acts of violence, harassment, and intimidation, many Jewish families are living with fear simply because they're Jewish. Synagogues, schools, and community centers continue strengthening security as hatred spreads far beyond the headlines. That's why the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews is working every day in Israel and around the world, providing security, emergency assistance, food, and critical care for vulnerable Jewish communities. For more than 40 years, the fellowship has stood alongside the Jewish people, delivering practical support when it is needed the most. Hatred continues to spread, but compassion and action can make a huge difference. So join me in joining the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews in praying for the safety of the Jewish people. Pray for peace in Israel and for an end to anti-Semitism. Together, we can remind God's people that they are not alone. So stand with Israel in prayer today by visiting prayifcj.org. That's pray, P-R-A-Y, ifcj.org.
This is Jacob Goldstein from What's Your Problem? Running a business is hard enough. Don't make it harder with a dozen apps that don't talk to each other. One for sales, another for inventory, a separate one for accounting. That's software overload. Odoo is the all-in-one platform that replaces them all. CRM, accounting, inventory, e-commerce, HR, fully integrated, easy to use, and built to grow with your business. Thousands have already made the switch. Why not you? Try Odoo for free at odoo.com. That's odoo.com.
When I was diagnosed, all I wanted to do was get back to work. I wanted to get back to that trajectory that I was on prior to the cancer. I always felt like I had value. I had a place on the team. To just be treated with dignity, it means everything.
Research shows there is a significant connection between the ability to continue to work and cancer recovery. We can make work a better place for healing.
Learn more and sign the pledge at workingwithcancerpledge.com.
Do you want to hear Red Pilled America stories ad-free? Then become a Backstage subscriber. Just log on to redpilledamerica.com and click Join in the top menu. Join today and help us save America one story at a time.
Welcome back to Red Pilled America. So while Glenn Beck was in the lion's den at CNN, famed radio host Don Imus revealed the new normal. If you fall out of the good graces of corporate media, your only home on the big stage would be Fox News. And if you lost Roger Ailes' network, you were through. Unless you could build something new. When Glenn Beck appeared on Don Imus' show in the wake of the Gabrielle Gifford shooting, he had a sense of calm in his demeanor. And that's likely because he'd been working on a way out of cable news, one that would blaze a trail on how to fight back against cancel culture.
I knew probably 6 months into my 2 years at Fox that it was not the place to be. I remember the last year, I probably said this in my morning meeting, 3 out of 5 meetings. And it was, we have got to get out of here because all of these networks are going to burn themselves to the ground. We have got to be away from these people. And so we knew we were going to do something. I thought at the beginning we were going to be able to do something with another network of some sort, an HBO or something like that.
And at the apex of his influence at Fox News in mid-2009, he was making those kinds of moves behind the scenes. Glenn had deals flowing with major corporate media.
Paramount bought one of my books and was, we were talking big budget production of a book that I had written.
But the deal was canceled. When the media began to viciously attack Glenn, he no doubt started to see corporate media was now using the same playbook on him that it used on Don Imus. So Glenn started to prepare. In August 2010, right around the same time of his massive Restoring Honor rally in Washington, D.C., Glenn quietly launched theblaze.com.
It was a news website. And I started it on that day because I didn't want anyone to notice it, because we wanted it just to appear and get some sea legs under it, and then we would announce it. And we thought, nobody's looking here.
But Glenn had much bigger plans in store. He was just waiting for the right opportunity to set it in motion. That came after the Gabby Giffords ordeal. It became obvious that corporate media was not the place for him. It was time to build a new platform, something that hadn't been done in media, a live streaming subscription service that was immune to cancel culture.
And this is a time when podcast was like a joke, Oh, I've got a podcast. Yeah, well, so does any 12-year-old kid. Our initial goal was, we can't be a podcast. We can't be in, my mom's basement with a bad camera. We have to show that this can be done on a network scale. And back then, that was really expensive. Really expensive. It cost millions of dollars to do this at first.
It was 2011. There were almost no subscriber-based live streaming services.
Well, remember, when I got into this, buffering was the problem. Podcasts were audio only. You didn't do television with it. The only ones that were doing it, the only one that was doing it was Major League Baseball. And we actually had to partner with Major League Baseball. We were running on their spine. We were before HBO or anybody was really doing this. And it cost a fortune, but it looked good. And if you could get past the buffering, smart people saw this can be something that I didn't think it could be.
So on April 6, 2011, just a few months after the Gabrielle Giffords tragedy, Glenn Beck made his move. He announced he was leaving Fox News, and the media was practically giddy.
We learned today that one of the country's best-known and most polarizing broadcasters has broken up with Fox News. Glenn Beck will be leaving, along apparently with his chalkboard and theories.
They're trying to make this seem like a friendly divorce.
This is clearly a marriage that went sour.
Glenn Beck never really fit in at Fox. He was always his own man. Unlike Bill O'Reilly and Sean Hannity, he wasn't born by Fox and he didn't depend on Fox. So I think there were always skirmishes because of that.
The head of Fox News, Roger Ailes, says he's read that Beck was fired, he's read that Beck has quit. Ailes says he's happy with both interpretations.
As corporate media celebrated that Glenn Beck was being kicked out of hell, his friend Bill O'Reilly was one of the few that knew that the talented storyteller was working on something big. he was about to trailblaze a new path for the coming cancel culture.
Hey, what happened to our guy Beck?
You know, Beck's a genius, this guy. He's going to make 10 times as much money.
Again, Glenn Beck.
I have to tell you, it's incredible how many times I've been counted out. I actually love it because then they don't see you coming again, you know?
And that is exactly what happened. In September 2011, Glenn launched what would later become Blaze TV, the first subscription-based service of its kind. And with it, he showed every freethinker that there was a way to bypass cancel culture.
You are in the right place if you want to get off your butt and do something. We must separate ourselves from anger and focus on solutions. Radicals feed on anger. They feed on fear. We're not going to be fearful, and we're not going to be angry. We are the 10% that need to know exactly what they believe in and then never sit down. If you want to be awake, alive, and pushed out of your comfort zone, if you want to be educated and engaged, if you want to reach the end of your life and confidently be able to look your children in the eye and say, I left everything I had out in the field, I did everything I could. If you want to be involved in something larger than yourself, welcome home. You are in the right place. But you must not bring anger with you.
It was hell for the first 5, 6, 8, 10 years. I don't know. It's hell to start something new like this. It was nice at the beginning, actually, before they really knew that this was going to change things. You know, I was invited out to Silicon Valley to talk to people about it. I mean, I had some really interesting meetings with deep thinkers about the future that were just examining us as a guinea pig. And so it was interesting to have that kind of interaction. Then trying to put a network together of like-minded people, I think I would have not lost my family fortune had I not put a whole network on the air. If it would have just been my show. But I didn't want to do just my show. I wanted to show you that you don't need television anymore.
Building a network from scratch is an extraordinarily difficult endeavor that takes not only resources, but an enormous drive as well. Glenn offered his creative inspirations that helped guide him on his journey.
The two real mentors of my life that I never met were Walt Disney and Orson Welles. And Walt Disney still had, even at the end of his life when he's dying in bed with cancer, he's still dreaming. He's pointing up to the popcorn ceiling in his hospital room, telling his brother, you got to build this over here and this is going to happen. And then you get General Motors to do this. And I mean, he saw so far ahead and nothing stopped him. And the other guy, Orson Welles, he had ideas and everyone would say it couldn't be done, and he didn't believe in that. And my favorite story of Welles is, you know, he was a huge radio star, but he was also the biggest Broadway star as well. And he was producing, directing, doing art direction, costuming, and starring on Broadway. He was massive. And at one point, he's doing a Broadway show and several radio shows, and he had no time. And at one point, John Houseman, I think his name was,
Orson's business partner,
was walking with him, and he said, Orson, I just want to let you know, CBS wants you to do another series on Saturdays. And he said, good, sign me up. And he said, Orson, you have 2 shows on Saturday. You have a matinee, and the radio station is downtown. We're midtown. I can't get you there that fast. And he says, there's got to be a way. There's got to be a way. I can do it in between shows. Now think of that. I can do it in between shows. Houseman said that you can't do that. And as they're talking, an ambulance passes them on the street. And Welles stops and looks at his partner and said, do me a favor. Find out if you have to be sick to ride in one of those things. And every Saturday after his first show, they'd back an ambulance up to the Broadway show. He'd climb in, and they would turn the sirens on, and he would go down to CBS and cut the show. I mean, that's what makes life fun. What's worth living. I mean, you know, fame and fortune is battery acid to the soul. But going out, living on the edge, doing stuff that nobody's ever done before, and everybody tells you that's stupid, that can't be done, oh my gosh, that is worth getting up for every morning.
Which leads us back to the question, who is Glenn Beck? Glenn Beck is a trailblazing storyteller that showed an entire generation of creators how to combat cancel culture. When he was deplatformed by corporate media, he didn't fade away into obscurity. He saw it coming and built something that had never been built before. After he launched his first live streaming subscription service, others followed: CRTV, Compound Media, The Daily Wired, Censored TV, Locals.com, Rumble, and many others. Glenn Beck was patient zero of cancel culture, but he refused to be a victim of it. With the creation of Blaze TV, Glenn showed a new way forward. Many, including your humble hosts, were blacklisted from creative industries monopolized by the far left, and were unsure how we'd be able to provide for our families. But Glenn Beck showed it could be done, and on the same scale as the big boys. And he did it by learning from creative minds like Walt Disney and Orson Welles, and by turning to our Creator for strength.
I made a covenant with God, and I said I would do what he wanted me to do. And maybe I'm just hearing things in my head, but I actually believe that we are all here at this time for a reason, and that reason does involve, right now, freedom. That freedom does not belong to me or anybody else. It belongs to him and what he wants to do with it in the future. And we can't lose it. I don't want to be a part of the generation that loses this amazing thing called rights.
For all things Glenn Beck, visit glennbeck.com. That's glennbeck.com. Red Pilled America is an iHeartRadio original podcast. It's produced by me, Adriana Cortez, and Patrick Correlchi for Inform Ventures. Now, our entire archive of episodes is only available to our Backstage subscribers. To subscribe, visit redpilledamerica.com and click support in the top menu. Thanks for listening.
This is Jacob Goldstein from What's Your Problem? Running a business is hard enough. Don't make it harder with a dozen apps that don't talk to each other. One for sales, another for inventory, a separate one for accounting. That's software overload. Odoo is the all-in-one platform that replaces them all. CRM, accounting, inventory, e-commerce, HR, fully integrated, easy to use, and built to grow with your business. Thousands have already made the switch. Why not you? Try Odoo for free at odoo.com. That's odoo.com.
I need to be healthy every day to survive it and go through the next chemo round and the next chemo round. So it's important that work was part of that, to keep my mind busy for 8-9 hours. And then I had to go back and face the reality. I had a goal, and the goal was to survive.
Research shows there is a significant connection between the ability to continue to work and cancer recovery. We can make work a better place for healing.
Learn more and sign the pledge at workingwithcancerpledge.com.